Over the last 4 years, I've been developing a system called the Controlled Growth Framework. Basically, I used to really struggle with client acquisition, especially making it predictable and controllable. So I wanted to come up with this system that allows you to basically control your inflow of clients to your business in line with your operations so that you can get stability, security, and basically relieve yourself of all the stress. So I built this system, we started running it for loads of our clients and it worked. And ever since then, I've just been tweaking it and tweaking it. The purpose of this video is for me to explain to you why it works, because it works fundamentally different to most of the things you've been taught in marketing. And also I'm going to talk you through very practically like what it looks like, how it operates, so you can basically take it and run it in your own business. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand principally what the most efficient and effective marketing systems are. So before I go into the intricacies of how to set up the Controlled Growth Framework, I'm going to first explain how it works. Now this comes from the world of dating and pickup artists. When I was like 18 years old, I was obsessed with this stuff. And there are a few things that I learned that completely changed the way it works. And you might be thinking, I don't want to hear about John's dating life, but trust me, understanding this stuff is going to create a little shift in your brain, and that's going to allow you to get way more efficient marketing and client acquisition. So the reason this works is essentially, it's based off of two principles. One's called the 7-hour rule and one's called multiple hits. Now, way back when I first started going out into the dating world, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. There were all these pickup lines you would go up and you just say to a girl, or you were told, just be confident, go up and ask her out on a date. And you do those things, and what would happen is, it's the equivalent of walking up to someone in a bar you've never met before, ask them to marry you, ask them to go to bed with you. The chances are they're going to reject you because there's absolutely no trust. Okay, so what happens is, and this is exactly the same with dating as it is with client acquisition. You meet someone, they become aware of you, right? And then once they've become aware of you, time passes, and as time passes, their trust in you should increase, provided you do the right things. What most people do is they try to convert people at the first point of contact. So very little time has passed, very little trust has been built, and they try to convert in this little red dot here. The reality is, a far better way to convert people is by building more trust over more time and then asking them to convert. It's a fundamental shift in the way you approach things. This is how the 7-hour rule works. Basically, the rule is that you require 7 hours of comfort building or trust building with someone for them to move to the next step of a relationship with you. So if that's business, we're talking about becoming a client of yours, okay? So the traditional way that you would approach dating or marketing is direct response. And don't get me wrong, in both instances, it can work. If you approach enough girls and say, hey, do you want to come home with me tonight? Eventually, someone's probably going to say yes. The numbers are astronomically small, but with enough numbers, they might say yes. Probably not good for your reputation. Same thing with marketing. Your cost per acquisition might be quite high. You might get low-level clients, but technically it works. And this is the problem. Most people get a system that kind of works, but isn't the most effective and efficient system. They just can't figure out what to do. The better approach is to approach the girl and then, instead of just asking that outright question or going straight for the sale, you build rapport with them, you build trust. You would ask questions about them, you would be funny, you would tell stories, you would get to know them, etc., over the course of a 7-hour period before you then ask them to go on to the next level of the relationship with you. So that's the 7-hour rule. Now, thankfully, there's another principle called multiple hits, which allows us to completely warp the perception of time in relation to those 7 hours. So in instance 1, we just go up, we do all the right things, but we have to stand there talking to the person for 7 hours. The reality is, in today's world, with so many distractions, it's very, very, very difficult to do that. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use this multiple hits theory to warp the perception of time. The way this works is, firstly, in terms of you approaching the person, you might not go up and immediately speak to them. You might just be seen by them. This is stuff like awareness campaigns. So as you walk past, you might wave at them or wink at them or ask them a very quick question about something they're wearing or the drink they have or something like that. It doesn't matter. You're not fully committing to a conversation. You're just making yourself aware to them. This is awareness marketing, and basically it warms people up, so it's not like you're going in cold. But let's say we actually do start a conversation with someone. Instead of us just standing there talking to them, we're going to spend 10 minutes in this corner of the bar here, and then we're going to move them to a different corner of the bar and have a bit of a chat there. Then we're going to go for a walk. Then we're going to go to another bath for another 10 minutes. Then the next day we're going to go for a walk in the park. And as you can see, the context as to where we're seeing these people is consistently changing. And if you consistently change the context and the place that you're speaking to the person, your perception of time massively warps. And instead of you needing 7 hours to build that comfort, you could maybe only need 2 hours because it feels like longer. Just think of a normal day in the office. If you're sat at your desk all day without leaving, time feels like it's a little bit warped. If you look back on that day, nothing really separates it up. But if you spent that same day going out on meetings, you went to 7 different meetings all over the place, that'd feel like a really long day. So that's essentially how those two things work. Now we're going to use these two principles, the 7-hour rule and multiple hits, within the control growth framework to build trust with someone before we ask for the sale. Traditional marketing goes, right, direct response, they must need the thing, sell them the thing, sell, sell, sell. Little trust, little time, we get low value clients, our cost per acquisition is too high, it doesn't feel super efficient. The new system is we build trust over time so that we can, when we ask for the sale, make the sale easier, get higher quality clients, etc., etc. So now you understand all that, I'm going to walk you through how the control growth framework works in practical terms, specifically related to marketing. So what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to do all the standard stuff like understand our target audience, understand what it is we're offering. The control growth framework only works if you already have something to sell and you know who you're selling it to. It primarily relies on advertising, although technically you could do this with content marketing. It works over any channel as well. So basically what we're going to do is, once we understand our target audience and we understand what we're offering, we're going to put out ads. Now the way that we focus is we work on LinkedIn and Facebook. So what we would do is we would run ads on LinkedIn and Facebook, and we found that ads that focus on the pain tend to work a little bit better than ads that focus on the desire. Not always, don't get me wrong, but most of the time that's the case. That's because people can be aware of their problems without being aware of the fact that they need a solution, or even being aware what the solution actually is. So we focus on the pain, that takes us further up the funnel, which means we get more leads for cheaper, basically. So what we're going to do, promote our service via an ad to the exact people we need, ideally calling out their pains. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to send someone to a lead form. The reason we're going to send them to a lead form, and it doesn't matter whether it's on Facebook or LinkedIn, is because a lead form is native to the platform. It doesn't send anyone off the platform, therefore the platform understands who that person is. Reporting on it is really, really good. There's less friction in terms of them filling out the form. Basically everything's easier. So it's a great way to test your offer and test that this is all going to work for you. At a later date, what we ideally want to do is switch from using a lead form to sending someone through a landing page. Again, straight back to the 7-hour rule, what it does by sending someone through a landing page instead of using a lead form is, firstly, they spend more time, firstly, they spend a little bit more time talking to us, or like interacting with us. They get way more context because they can read more stuff. And they have to jump through more hoops to be able to submit a lead form. Like they have to click on multiple pages, type in their information. As a result of switching to a landing page sequence, what tends to happen is your lead quality increases, the schedule rates increase, and the rate at which people are going to close on the call also increases. So first off, we run our ad, we send them to a lead form. Once we know that a lead form works, if we want to, we can then start shifting to a landing page sequence. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this is where building trust starts to hop in, right? Some people are going to open that lead form but not fill out their information. Some people are going to click on the landing page and not fill out their information. In fact, spoilers, that's most people, right? Only a small percentage of people are going to take the action and go to the next step. The percentage varies depending on your offer, but let's say roughly 10%, okay? So loads of people click, only 10% actually convert. What we're going to do is the people who click to open the lead form and the people who actually submitted it, or same with the website, the people who clicked through and the people who completed the form on the website, we're going to add them into remarketing. This can be on LinkedIn, it can be on Facebook. We can install a pixel on the website from both LinkedIn and Facebook. Could even do YouTube, could do Google, it doesn't really matter. But we're going to set up remarketing campaigns so that that person starts to see us consistently all over the place. Then what we're going to do is, in our remarketing, we're going to start pummeling them with ads. Pummeling is not the best word maybe, but we're just going to hit them with loads and loads of different ads, okay? And these ads need to do several things. the core thing is build trust, but the way that we build trust is ideally setting ourselves up as an expert in our field. So how-to videos or videos answering questions. We're going to have videos handling objections. So any common objections, create a video that overcomes that objection, explains why it isn't really an objection. We can use humor, such as memes, comedy skits, things like that, to give us a personal element, to give us sort of a personal feel, to again build trust with, because you've got to build trust with the product, the service and the person, or something like that, I can't remember. But basically, you're not just building trust in the service itself, you're building trust with the company and the person selling that thing. So loads of remarketing content, that's gonna go out to them, okay? Once that remarketing content's going out, that will start to push more people through the lead form or the website, but it has another impact. It's also going to help people who have converted to keep seeing us, so that when it gets to the point of the sale, they convert easier. Now, once they've submitted the lead form or they've been through the website, and this was specifically for people who need to book sales calls into their diary, not everyone does, but we're going to send them through to a landing page where it says, you're not done yet, you're nearly done, but not quite yet. And the reason we say that is if you say you're done, their mind goes, that task is complete, I'm gonna stop. If you say you're not done yet, but you're very, very nearly done, they're more likely to complete the next step. So we send them onto a landing page, and that page they can book a specific time into our diary, and basically that means all we have to do is show up for the sales call. Now, not everyone, again, is gonna fill out that form. Most people do at this point in time because they've started jumping through hoops, but for the ones that don't, we just have reminders via text, email, and by the way, all of this is included as part of our service. There's a link below. We can either implement all of this for you. I have scripts for everything, templates for the landing pages, templates for the ads. So we can either build it for you, or if you want to do it yourself, we also have services whereby we just give it all to you and you can learn it yourself. So we have reminders trying to get them to schedule in, but once they have scheduled, we then send them reminders of their call, either via text or email, or ideally both. And we want to do this like 48 hours before the call, 24 hours before the call, and then 3 hours before the call. This is just to remind them to actually show up to the call. And a little hint here, if you want to increase your schedule rates even further, you would add in some sort of FOMO to them not showing up. So either a bonus if they do show up to that call that they wouldn't get if they no-showed, or a blacklisting. So if they don't show up to the call, their chances are completely gone, they can never apply again, they get added to a blacklist. By adding those one or both of those two things in, you will see your schedule rate massively increase. Then we have the call, especially with B2B. Don't be salesy, don't be pushy, it doesn't really work. It creates massive buyer's remorse, it's not good long term, especially for your reputation. So we don't want to be pushy at all. And the advantage is that if we're using this system, we don't need to be pushy because they trust us more than they would. What most people are trying to do is they're doing direct response, push them straight to the sales call, try and brute force your way through the sales call by handling objections, make them make a decision against their will, and then no one's really happy, okay? And then you end up having clients that are pissed off, etc., etc. What we want to do instead is build that trust that when we ask for the sale, we don't have to handle objections because they've already been handled by trust. We don't want to get on the calls with people who understand what it is we do and have already really made a decision about whether they're going to use us or not. But in the instance of B2B, most people still have to do extra things before they close. Some people close on the first call, but it's usually not a huge percentage of people. So what we'll do then, and this might be because they have to speak to their finance department or their business partner or whatever that may be, in B2B things are a bit slower. In B2C you can usually get a close on the first call. But what we're going to do is, it's even more important now to keep building that trust in between that like first date and the second date. Otherwise they'll just flake on you, they'll ghost, they'll disappear. And that's usually just how that works, right? But again, we can get around it. So the way we get around it is after the call, first off, we're going to immediately book in a follow-up call. So on that first call, we book in a follow-up call. So we have a date in the diary, ideally only a week in the future. So we have a point in the future at which all decisions need to be made. We need to have basically decided whether we're going ahead or not. And either way is absolutely fine. So what we're going to do in that interim period of a week is we're going to first off send them a Loom video explaining, very, very specific to them, explaining the call, how it all went. This is so that they can share that video with anyone internally at their team. We're also going to have those ads constantly hitting them. This can be on Facebook, LinkedIn, any other platform. This is basically omni-channel marketing. It's why it works so well, okay? So we have the ads hitting them in multiple places. We also have email and SMS nurturing sequences, things that are generic enough that you can set them manually, but still gives them value. So maybe like if you're a SaaS platform, you can give them like access to a certain element of your platform. If you're a service-based business, you could start sending them some templates or things that they can use to get ready to use your services. Maybe little bits of advice or videos you've done around how to improve XYZ. Anything just to get them watching your content and interacting with you. You don't need to physically speak to them, but they need to be consuming your content. We're also going to add them on social media. This is very good for B2B, especially with LinkedIn. You would add them so they're in your LinkedIn network. This creates a little bucket of leads. Not everyone converts. We're going to use organic social content, so that content on LinkedIn, for example, we're going to be posting that regularly, and that again is building up more trust. And ideally with content marketing, things like this YouTube channel as an example, we can push them to other content sources such as YouTube or our blogs so they again keep consuming content. The advantage is that these organic content marketing elements here, they push all the way back to the start of the funnel. So it starts to become a loop of we have our ads, we set all this stuff up, and originally our content is just to nurture people who are in the funnel already. We don't need a huge audience, we just need to nurture the people we're already speaking to. But over time what happens is these organic content channels start to feed the whole machine. So it becomes a loop whereby they're nurturing people who are in the funnel, but they're also creating new people into the funnel, so everything keeps growing. Then we have that follow-up call where we make the decision on the sale, basically. And that's how the Controlled Growth Framework version 3 operates. And if you need help with any of this, building landing pages, running the ads, video content, whatever that may be, there's a link below to our services, and we also have consultation or just pre-built packages where we give you all the templates for everything to save you a load of time trying to figure it all out by yourself. And all this is great, but it's a high-level overview. You're going to need to know how to practically implement all of this. So I've put together a video called the Ultimate LinkedIn Ads Guide, which will allow you to set all of this up on LinkedIn and understand how that works. Although if you want the full thing, I strongly recommend after that video, you check out our Facebook video so you know how to put into practice the whole system end to end.